Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we are going to be jumping into another very mysterious mystery and doing some more, I think, fun experiments. Today, we're going to be dealing with the Pagan Ritual Site in RDR2. So in case you guys have never visited here before, it's one of the creepier locations in the game. So it's actually located to the west of Strawberry, and it's also to the west of Lake Owenjilla. So it's almost on the furthest west-hand side of the map. So it does take a little bit to get there, but it's well worth it in my opinion. So upon visiting there for the first time, you're going to notice this circle in the ground that looks to be like a compass. You have 4 sets of bigger rocks with candles in the middle at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, like the face of a clock. And in the center, there looks to be this half torso that looks to have been brutally taken apart. You can see that there's like guts and stuff hanging out. And then there is this like pagan skull mask on the actual impaled person in the center. Now, I don't know a whole lot about pagan rituals, so if you guys do, maybe you can let us all know in the comments down below. But there's a couple of other things as well. It looks like they have sacrificed a goat, and there looks to be like this weird white writing. And they're all sort of these interesting symbols. And Arthur or John, depending on who you visit this as, will actually scribble this down in their journal, and they will literally write it down as pagan ritual. And if you eventually take the mask off the guy, you can see that he's missing one of his eyes. Another eye is actually hanging off. And this is the mask that you can get, which is certainly kind of interesting. So once again, if you guys have any better idea on what sort of these symbols might actually mean on the ground, please be sure to let us know. And if you were to just visit this for the first time, you might assume that right then and there, the mystery is over and that there's nothing more to do. Well, I wanted to see if many of the Easter eggs in game, if either the progression of time or the progression further in the story would actually trigger something. So that's what I wanted to try. So I visited this in Chapter 2, and I did that for a specific reason, because I wanted to see what would happen if you visited this in another chapter. So I'm in Chapter 2 right now, and I decided to load into Chapter 4, which would definitely been a couple of months gone by. And we went ahead and we visited the exact same spot, and we actually didn't get anything new. Upon visiting for the first time, you will notice that it looks the exact same way. You have sort of the impaled body on the stake in the middle of the circle, and you've got the mask on there as well. Nothing has changed. So what we figured out today is that no matter what chapter you visited in, as long as you are visiting for the first time, it is always going to look like this. So I thought to myself, okay, if the progression of chapters doesn't do anything, what about the progression of time after you visit for the first time? Maybe you have to visit in order for the Easter egg to sort of activate. And that's what we're going to be figuring out in this video today. So that's what I did. I loaded back into my first Chapter 2 save, in which I had saved right after I visited for the first time and actually took the mask off. The mask actually went into my inventory, so I permanently have it forever. And then upon going back to the site, I noticed that it wasn't any different. The guy was still there on the stake, and that was it. There was no changes at all. However, the one big change that I could make this time is I could actually take the body off of the stake, which I thought was incredibly weird. So the first time you go, you can actually take the mask off. The second time you go, you can actually take the body off, which is so strange. And I don't know if this is a glitch or if Rockstar meant this to happen, because if you put the body on your shoulder, you guys can see there that you're not holding on to anything. So there's no way in which that body would be holding on to your shoulder, and you can pick it up as many times as you want. And I thought to myself, okay, maybe if I leave it there and then I come back again, something will actually happen. And when I came back at night, my heart literally stopped, because there was this deer that was in the area, and it came charging at me as I was running towards the Pagan Ritual Site. And I wish I was recording my voice when this happened because I literally yelped like a little girl. I mean, I screamed because I'm already freaked out enough as it is dealing with this stuff. And now when that thing ran by, it just really freaked me out. Now, something else I noticed here, number one, the body was still there, but there is now an X marked on the ground where there was not previously one before. So it almost sounds as if this Easter egg is evolving. But I wanted to get rid of this body, maybe to see if, number one would be respawned and put back on the stake, or number two, what would happen if I removed it from the ritual site. So I felt like the best thing to do here was to wash it down the river, and that is exactly what we did. So after washing the body down the river, I ended up sleeping once again. I was trying to have the passage of time go on even further. And then I returned to the pagan site and noticed that there was no changes. The X had obviously disappeared because we removed the half torso, but that was it. There was no changes that had occurred. So at this point, I was getting a little bit frustrated. I was wondering, what's going on here? Why isn't anything happening with this pagan ritual site? And one thing I actually figured out here is if you shoot at this site, you'll actually get negative honor. Like I accidentally fired my pistol here and I got negative honor points for doing that. So that was a little bit strange, I thought. And I tried like maybe shooting some things like the skulls or the candles to see if anything would happen. But I noticed that I was not getting anything to happen. So I was starting to think to myself, is this it? Maybe this is not a dynamic Easter egg. And the whole point of this entire thing was to just have this interesting pagan ritual. However, I saw a post on the Red Dead Mystery subreddit by a user JMog. Hopefully I'm pronouncing their username correctly. They posted this image. They said after waiting around 2 days, this is what showed up at the pagan ritual. And you can see that it is a bunch of rotten gray wolves, and it's also this decomposing corpse. How creepy is that? Now, I wish there was a little bit of a better screenshot here. This has been the best one that has been provided. So after seeing that screenshot, I wanted to do a little bit more research. And it turns out that there was another post by a user, LimbsMgee, on the Red Dead Mysteries Reddit. And they also posted a YouTube video as well. I'll leave a link to that full video in the description. You should definitely check it out for yourself, and you should subscribe to LimbsMgee. He does other cool videos like this that I highly recommend checking out. He posted some footage of the body actually showing up at the pagan ritual, which is so strange, as you guys can see there. Now, the original body part that was supposed to be there, as you guys can see, is gone. And this one is sort of perfectly aligned up with 12 o'clock. If we were to look at this like a clock, or it's facing directly north. So that right there is incredibly strange. So in my opinion, it's pretty clear that something is happening here, and also something needs to be done in order to trigger this. Because multiple people have come across this pagan ritual with a new sort of rotting, decomposing body placed there. And it sort of begs the question, do you need something like a sacrifice in order to get this pagan ritual to, make its way to the next stage? That's something I was sort of talking about. So this is one of the biggest mysteries I've seen so far in Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm not exactly too sure what it actually means. Is it connected in any way, shape, and form to what we saw at Butcher's Creek? Where if you go to one of these shacks at a certain time of day at around 4 to 5 a.m., you'll actually notice this mysterious satanic symbol underneath one of the sheds. So that's why I'm saying there's so many different variables here that could ultimately lead to this being activated. Does it have to be at a certain time of day with a certain weather pattern? Do you have to complete something beforehand? Do you have to be wearing a certain mask? There's so many variables here, and I don't even know where to begin. Now, one theory that I've seen floating around for why this body is appearing at this pagan ritual is that the corpse is a Wendigo. And a Wendigo is a Native American legend and is only created when someone eats human flesh and then are doomed to walk the earth forever, hungry to consume more human flesh. So that would make sense why this Wendigo is literally right next to that already torso that's on the spike in the center of this ritual. So I'm going to leave the rest of this discussion up to you guys in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about this entire situation regarding the pagan ritual. Is a sacrifice required? Is there something else required in order to get this body part to appear? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily Red Dead Redemption 2 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.